Calling this meeting to order and to flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the open. Is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting on August 14, 2023 was included in a list of meeting notice sent to the Huntington County Democrat and Courier News on January 5, 2023, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the borough. Can I please have a roll call?
Sure. Councilman Johnston, he's not on. Councilman Parker.
Here.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Here.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Here.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Here.
And Council President Long.
Here.
And Mayor Karen.
Here.
No, we have.
Thank you, Carla. Is PSNS on? Is Angela Gonzalez on? I can't.
Yes, you want me to make her a panel?
Would you make her? And also, there's supposed to be somebody else. I think we could read this, but I cannot read this in writing. She'll tell us who else to make live. So, before we get into the heart of the meeting, I invited Angela Gonzalez from PSNS architect firm that the council engaged.
She just needs to accept.
Okay. Yeah, because it said she was made a panelist.
Right. So Angela, you need to accept, you'll get a little pop-up window that says to accept to be a panelist.
She has her hand raised.
No, wait, did you have your hand down?
Promote to panelist. Okay, let's see. Maybe, okay, here we go. There
Hi,
we go.
Angela. You're on mute. You can take yourself off the mute. Or we have her on mute, Carla.
There we go.
Angela,
Ted Osborne is also on, so if you want to have him.
Ed Osborne, you said?
Yep.
so I asked Angela to zoom in tonight to give the council an update as to what the status is on the police building. The council engaged her just 3 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago. I don't remember, but it seems
Yeah, it was probably about 5 weeks ago at this point.
since Angela's been engaged, she's gotten preliminary drawings done. She's had the Department of Corrections facilities people out to look at the space. We've given Remington Burnick also has come in and has looked at the space per the Department of Corrections requirements. And she is, but I did ask her, there is a lot about this building that nobody knew. And so I want Angela to walk the council through what's happening, where things are, the requirements that are being imposed on the borough or possibly imposed on the borough by the Department of Corrections. And let you all ask as many questions as you want. So go ahead, Angela.
Well, I'll introduce Ted Osborne, who is he'll be the architect of record. Ted has done quite a few other corrections facilities. I don't know, Ted, if you want to talk very briefly about that.
So my name's Ted Osborne. I run the AE group at PSNS. And in my background, I don't know if you all have been aware, but there's 4 new police barracks on the New Jersey Turnpike, 3 on the Parkway and 1 on, well, actually 2 on the Parkway, 2 on the Turnpike, all of which I was the lead design on and have been involved in the state barracks and on the New Jersey State Barracks, as well as in the New York State Thruway Authority. So we've got a lot of experience working with these kind of facilities. And Angela and I have been talking about this building from my perspective as having done these things from the ground up, and what she has discovered having been down there quite a few times. So yeah, Angela, I think you should probably bring these folks up to speed as to, and it's the difference between a building that was built as a real estate office or whatever this was previously to a building that was built as a police station, police barracks from the beginning. And there's a lot of things that we have to bring up to speed in order for it to meet the Department of Corrections guidelines.
Okay. So, for instance, if you want to look at just the processing area, and that's what I'll focus on because that's what our task is at hand at the moment. And the existing exterior walls, which I know Remington Burnick did a test, some cores to check on the exterior wall as well as the ceiling, which is a hollow plank ceiling. So both of those need to meet certain requirements by the Department of Corrections, which is actually
Angela?
reinforced concrete block. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, so the exterior wall, just for the council, the exterior wall you're talking about is the one that runs along the parking lot. It's the outside wall of
Correct.
the parking lot.
Correct.
Across
Yeah.
the center is on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And the ceiling you're talking about is the basement, as I call it, which is the ground floor
Yeah.
ceiling that separates to the first. And I just want to just make sure, has everybody on council been through this building? Yes.
No, I have
You
not.
have never been in this building and you've not, okay, so you're talking and Councilwoman Rosetta, you've not been in this building.
No.
Okay, so 3 out of the 5 council members present have not been in this building, so you're gonna have
Okay.
to bring it down.
Okay.
President and I know it intimately.
All right. Yeah. So the existing building, there were windows on the exterior that were infilled, which is good because we need to have that be a solid wall. But the bad thing is that none of those walls are filled solid nor reinforced the way that the Department of Corrections would require it to be. So with
Hollow block,
its hollow block,
their fear is that a truck could break through the walls and have prisoners get out.
correct.
Exactly what they told us when they were here for site visit.
Yes, yes. So there's ways around that. It's installing these 12 gauge metal panels system on the walls. There's another system for the ceiling. You need to make these all so that they're resistant to abuse, to anyone coming through, all the things that you need in a processing center. So that's one of the issues. Also, the fact that you have literally an 8'4" ceiling height between the existing floor of the lower level and the top or the bottom portion of the concrete plank, which is the ceiling of the lower level. Okay, so between the 2 floors. We need to keep an 8-foot minimum ceiling height. So you got 4 inches in which to try to get all your HVAC, your lighting, all those things. So there's a lot of coordination that's going to need to happen to have that processing area have the required HVAC and the lighting. The other piece of it is the bathroom. The bathroom is going to need to have anti-ligature fixtures. So basically so that no one can harm themselves while in the bathroom. These tend to be a more expensive type of fixture. And so we need to address that, as well as there's need to be floor drains in both the bathroom and in the processing area, because there are times where you need to clean up. There's things that happen and they need to wash down the space. So the floor as well is going to need to either be an epoxy of some sort that's easily cleanable and washed down. And then also a eye wash. So if the police officer gets spit on or something gets on them, they are able to wash their eyes out before they get into the processing area. as well as a hose bib to be able to wash. So there's a lot of pieces of information with that. That means, sorry, I can't hear you, Marcia.
Can you address the flush valve issue? You had mentioned that the type of toilet, the water.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So the toilets will need to be a flush valve because that's how these types of fixtures are, which will require an upgrade of the incoming water service. So we were thinking that it would need to be done eventually. We were thinking that it would be able to wait till phase 2B, but based on the information that we have gathered and researched, it's going to need to happen in this phase.
Is everyone familiar with what a flush valve is?
Okay.
So your normal toilet in your house is a tank toilet. The toilet that you see in a commercial building is a flush valve. There's no tank.
Yeah.
And it takes more water and more water pressure. And that's the difference between a flush valve and a tank.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be that kind of? Why does it have to be that kind of toilet?
Because the anti-ligature correctional facility toilets that are required are flush valve. They don't have tank toilets.
Yeah. Because someone could get into the back, use it to do anything, hide stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So like Godfather stuff.
You get it?
Yeah, it's just what they do in correctional facilities.
Yeah.
It just made a not funny subject funny. So Angela, when you were engaged, I mean, I was told early on, in my early months of this year as mayor, that the estimate for this project was 450,000, and that was giving us a 10%, 10%,
Contingency?
contingency factor. Thank you. And so when, we've gotten some money from Hunterdon County, and we have the sale of the building where the police currently are still pending, which is like just under 170,000. And then we were able to secure a $250,000 grant from the state of New Jersey, which brought us just under 450,000 all in. I'm thinking, like, how much money are you, like, in all your experience? It sounds like it's going to be a lot more than 450.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of items that are going to need to be addressed, not only things that we've seen immediately, but also I know that there's issues with the sewer and things backing up that you have to address. You can't just leave that, you can't kick the can on that one. That one's important.
So I just want the public that's here listening to understand that we're only talking about a portion of the building right now, not the whole building. The first floor is almost complete except for the handicap bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
The handicap bathroom, we obtained a grant from the county to do that. It was estimated to be 32,000. The contractor wanted 52,000. And so we are rolling that into the bid for the processing center because we're hoping that we'll get better prices if it's a bigger project. And that would complete the first floor, which is where the offices are and the receptionist to get into the police department. So what's not done is the downstairs area, first floor, ground floor. That is supposed to eventually have lockers and a break room for the police, which would be really important, as well as shower and bathroom for them. But in order to leave the current location we're in, we need this processing center to process prisoners in. Currently, we have a shared service agreement with the Sheriff's Department in Flemington of Hunterdon County, which is not a long-term solution because every time we have a prisoner, we have to send an officer over to the county jail, which means they are not at their desk in their computer and able to answer other calls. We have a small force, and it is This is just not a long-term solution. We want them in one building. So we're only talking about a processing center. We're not talking about lockers. We're not talking about break room, kitchen, locker, bathroom, any of that for the officers. And we have found since starting this project that the our sewer department had informed the prior administration that that building was having sewage backup because it only has a 4-inch pipe and it needs a 6-inch pipe. And that's going to have to be addressed at some point because that building only had a few people working in it, and now it's going to have 19 police officers, which is way more than the building has ever had before. So this is a major issue. And we're finding out, I also talked to the chief today at the request of our CFO to find out if anybody had ever inspected this building prior to being purchased. And our chief said that the Department of Corrections nor the Department of Justice ever saw this building to eyeball it prior to purchase. And I called my Campion, and my Campion told me that neither CME nor he were invited in to see this building before purchase. So I do know that when the Department of Corrections showed up to meet with Angela and the chief to walk through the building, they were pretty shaken. They thought we were building a new building. They couldn't believe we were renovating this building. So it's all, you know, pretty disturbing. What else do you want to tell us before I turn it over for questions?
I think we've hit the high points.
As it were, but you
As it
really until you, so you're at this point now, you're ready to finalize a drawing, right?
Correct, but that we're trying to proceed with.
Information, you've been in contact with the corrections department regarding what we found and what engineering found, got the final drawings and movements from the chief. Oh, we didn't talk about the air conditioner unit. That was another thing that was discovered downstairs. The HVAC system was illegally installed, and so that has to be addressed as well. It's a double system and it wasn't properly installed.
Only downstairs is illegally installed.
But the two downstairs were, yes, the upstairs one they got working, it wasn't working. The downstairs ones weren't working, but when Mike Campion brought our HVAC company in, he found that it was not properly installed, properly put in, the right word to say, since our construction officer is here. So that has to be addressed as well. Which would have been picked up by any building inspector, the inspector in the building. So, so with all of that in, Angela, you're ready to start doing the final drawings because you've got the preliminaries.
So we were proceeding with trying to get the processing area advanced so that we could get it to you and the chief, to the DOC to make sure that they're happy with what they're seeing. And then at that point, you could try to send it out to bid.
Does the Department of Corrections have to sign off on it before we can do that?
That is my understanding.
Okay. When do you anticipate us being able to go out to bid?
Well, I'm anticipating getting the drawings to you and the Department of Corrections late next week. So probably after Labor Day at this point.
And when you do that, do you include a bid estimate?
No, we did not include an estimate.
So it's just, we're gonna put it out and we're gonna see what it comes in at, basically, and then decide whether or not our CFO can certify funds. Right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Because, you know, to add bad news to bad news, the council knows this because I emailed them, but we were removed from the congressional budget for the $1.2 million, $2.1 million ask. We're still in the Senate budget. We're not in the congressional budget. So, if we remain in the Senate budget, then the two sides of Congress have to discuss and agree, because both budgets have to agree. So either Congress is going to have to put us in Senate's gonna have to take us out, or they're gonna have to find a compromise amount. So, but right now, we are not, we've been dropped from the congressional side, unfortunately. So Bill's gonna have to, like, once we get bids in, he'll have to figure out whether he can certify.
We can arrange to have a budget estimate developed for you, but it wasn't in our fee. And
Because, you know, it's one of the reasons under public laws we can reject, if it comes in too high. It's all right, we can go out and see what happens, see what our CFO says,
okay,
you know, so, but it's just the hard reality. You know,
Is this when you want to ask questions?
yeah, go ahead. Okay, questions?
So I wrote on here sewer backup, because this is the first that I'm hearing that there was a sewer issue in that facility. And I was a DPW liaison last year, and unless it was in a meeting that I didn't attend, I do not recall that conversation at all.
It didn't happen, it happened before we bought it. So when we bought it,
Right, but what I'm saying is that I was DPW
Yeah.
liaison before we bought it. And I don't ever remember that being part of a conversation anywhere. So I don't know if that information was brought to a DPW meeting.
I do not know,
or
but my
whatever,
captain
but-
said that the administration knew, he didn't matter. She knew, I told her.
Because I had a question, I didn't know we were talking about the sewer backup at the existing building. Because we all know that there's issues there at 100 Main Street. Not under the impression that we had sewer issues at 200 Main Street.
So apparently when we purchased the building, according to my Campion, the walls were cut 2 feet up,
Mhm.
usually a sign of flooding, and our sewer director, Ken Gill, verified that the pipes over there are too small for the building. And that I was identified as a sewage backup and not a flood backup. After the building was purchased, but they, apparently the former mayor was warned by my family that he had pipe issues.
Okay, thank you.
That's your own question?
That was it.
Council President?
Yeah, I got a question. And I suspect my question is more of the Department of Corrections, but in your discussions with them, were there any things that, you know, you gave us this list of things that need to be absolutely 100%. Were there things that we can get away with not doing, or, because I know sometimes Department of Corrections, if you're
Yeah,
building from ground up. they let
yeah, exactly. And he was willing to work with us on certain aspects. Like for instance, there will be a sally port at some point off that rear wall. And I did talk to him, well, can we, stop the panels knowing that we're going to anticipate the sally port to this location. That way, we're not putting in something that we don't need further down the line. Because the sally port will become the block, it'll be the protection around that area.
And that was the one thing that we're getting away, like, we don't have to have that right now. Okay, with the Department of Corrections.
He was okay with that. So we will try to adjust the location of where the metal panel will stop. And then we also talked about putting some barriers out there so that a car couldn't easily hit the wall. So that kind of stuff. So they're willing to work with us, but there's certain things that we have to do.
Yeah, so like the
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you.
drains and the eye watch is like nothing. This isn't like an extra thing. This is.
No, this is not. No.
this is required.
Required. Yeah.
Councilman Parker? Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yeah, I have a list here of questions. I apologize though. Can you hear me okay, Angela and Ted?
Yep.
Okay, great. And I have to do full disclosure. I was an associate in one of your competitors' firms DLR group, years ago. So you're familiar with they're you know, a corrections, architect. What I need to know is how many square feet are included in the scope that has to be done now, which is the processing center, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. How many square feet is that?
you give me a second, I'll give it to you.
Take your time.
Do you want to ask another question while I do this?
Well, sure, I can ask Ted another question while you're looking that up. Ted, well, you may need to answer look up this question as well, Angela, at the same time. How many square feet is that building in total versus how many square feet is the proposed amount of work that we have to go out to bid for? So that's my question to you, Angela. My question to you, Ted, is once she tells us how many square feet total that building is, what is a similar cost for new construction for a police station of that similar size and scope?
Okay, well, I can tell you from my experience with the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, that those buildings were for new buildings were about $650 a square foot. And that was 5 years ago.
Pre-COVID pricing.
Yeah. So it's not an inexpensive. It's an expensive construction because of all of the precautions that you have to take in terms of damage limiting construction, the hardening of it's a police station. So you're trying to harden the facility. You want to protect not only the prisoners from themselves, you want to protect the prisoners from the police officers, and you want to protect the police officers from the outside. So all of that has to be taken into consideration, which is why it's an expensive construction type.
I understand. So $650 per square foot is the new construction cost of the most recent experience you've had with new construction for these type of buildings about 5 years ago.
Yep.
Okay. And Angela, you got my answer now that you're looking up?
Yeah, it's about 920 square feet for the processing area, and the footprint of the basement is about 4,200 square feet.
4,200 square feet, and then times 2 floors.
Yes, but the upper floor is already, for the most part, done.
Right.
It's just a bathroom and a pass-through.
All square feet of the building as well, but 950 square feet is what would be going out to bid in around Labor Day. That's what you're saying, correct?
After Labor Day, correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Ted, and I apologize because I know we did review you as qualified architects, and I am familiar with PSNS, so I understand your work. And I understand, Ted, you're the head of the A&E firm. What is your official position at PSNS, Angela?
Project architect.
Okay, great. Okay, so just bear with me here. I'm just looking down my list of questions. The sewer backup that Tim and Jeremy were talking about earlier, that's not associated with borough-owned lines. That is the line from the street to the building itself.
No, it's the line from the building to the lateral that goes out for a sewer line.
That's what I just said.
Okay, when you say wrong.
I'm
It
sorry.
is our building line.
I didn't use
But
that.
wouldn't be borough owned. Yeah, it's borough owned now. Now it is.
Prior to it being purchased, it's parcel owned. It's on the parcel versus.
Right.
I apologize. Right. Sorry, it's a term that. Yes, you're right. It is, of course, all borough owned now, but it's the connection between the building and the street piping, there's not a problem with the pipes in the street itself. Is that correct?
I can't answer that. That's
Okay.
not, all I know is that there was a sewer backup I do not know exactly why there was a sewer backup, but that's what I was informed of once we were.
And on this,
Okay,
so
thank you.
part of this project that was discussed last year, I was at the public meeting in the audience at the time, was, police was desirous of attaining an easement with Prestige Developers, right behind the project,
Mhm.
on the circle. And, it was gonna go to explore that relationship, and I guess some kind of draft was done. I'm not sure if there was a monetary cost or not. But the, owner of Prestige was amenable to allowing an easement. This was for an emergency access to the police. So if Main Street was under construction, which never ever happens, but, that's a joke. You know, they can't get out or they can't get in, they can get out and they can get in through this back easement. So Ken Deal, identifying that this whole line is 2 inches too small to handle that building, had proposed, at least to me this year, or that was their thought process, is that when, this easement was attained and the work was being done to put some kind of subsurface down to allow the police to drive out, that's when he would put down the new sewer line.
Okay.
Sometime in the future.
Okay, so the work related to the project, scope that would be going out to bid.
Has
Around-
nothing to do with the sewer.
My question is there any sewer work that would need to be done in order to do the work related to the 950 square feet that would be going out to bid around Labor Day?
I would say not currently, but it's something that needs to be addressed.
All right, good. So
Wait, wait.
Oh,
Just
go
why I'm
ahead.
asking these questions is because I'm
Said you
trying.
just went mute. Go ahead.
Okay, aren't we required to put floor drains in the,
We are required to put floor drains, so there
So
will be
there-
some sort of, yeah,
Well,
but not,
but not necessarily the sewer that serves this particular long-term issue or later down the road.
well, the floor drains will have to be tied into a sewer now,
yeah,
and and we are below, that floor, I believe, is below the sewer. So in order to
Yeah.
make those floor drains work, we're gonna have to put an ejector pit in
mhm,
and feed up into the sewer. So there will be sewer work, Susan.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. But the work to make the pipe 4 inches to 6 inches is not included in the public bid plan for Labor Day.
No,
Okay, is it, we may want to, I'm just making a recommendation here, we're going out to bid. We may want to include that in as an alternate item on the bid.
my impression was that we were doing it in-house.
Oh, okay, even better, okay.
Once we get these, we don't have these.
Well, because then you can get it cost estimate. It doesn't cost you anything to throw an alternate in the public bid. You're not obligated to it. Okay, so now I want to understand the money a little better, and I'm sorry I'm going slow, but I have to understand this. The numbers that the mayor mentioned, the 170K for the sale of the Main Street building, the 250K for the grant from New Jersey, and the 52K from the county for the ADA bathroom. Obviously the 52K, because the ADA bathroom is included in this scope of work that's going out to bid for labor around today or not?
yes, it would be
Yeah.
part of for the upper level.
Okay, and how much grant from the county, Marcia?
So the county gave us, they believe 32,000 for that, because that was what was represented.
Okay,
But, after we received the money and, the upstairs floor was, under CME's watch, and I spoke to Dave Coates. Dave informed me that all he had was a drawing from the contractor, that there were no architecturals ever done on the upstairs floor, that all the work that was done upstairs was done without architecturals, including the bathroom, and that the contractor wanted this 52 or 55,000. So, that's when we threw, having PS&S design bathrooms because, the bathroom upstairs, because it's the only way we can get it out to bid,
I understand.
and hopefully we'll save money.
Okay, so I'm looking at a 170 plus 250 plus 20 grant is basically what we have right now. I'm setting aside the 32 for, because we have, you know, from the county.
Wait, say those numbers again?
You said there was 170 for the sale of Main Street,
Roughly.
250 for, yeah, round numbers.
Yeah.
250 for the grant from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And the 20,000 that is the balance of the ADA scope not accounted for, or cost not accounted for. So we've got those three numbers together with $452,000. And the PSNS, our contract with them does not include cost estimating. I understand that. So I guess I think what I'd like to hear from Bill eventually is like how much, once we do get an estimate, you know, obviously you already mentioned we're gonna need to figure out where we're gonna get the balance of the money from.
I don't think, look, we got PSS here tonight to talk about the building.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the building.
Okay.
And when we know what it's gonna really cost,
that's fine.
we can talk to
That's
Bill
fine.
about
I'm
it.
just trying to understand the overall scope.
Well, the overall scope is that we're totally screwed because no architectural was done. This building wasn't properly vetted with the Department of Corrections. I sat there in public and said, when was this ever discussed to the former mayor? Never in public, who never answered that question. Nobody ever looked at this building but her, with who knows, and here we are. So we gotta deal with what we gotta deal with. We got a building that is completely failing now with the police. Which someone authorized, someone who is not in this room, I assume, authorized doing pre-demolition on. So they removed all of the insulation and the ventilation system, and our police are sitting in there with water running on them. We gotta get it out of the building, because it's been pre-demolished. And before it gets too cold, and we gotta get this processing center done, otherwise we can't move them in.
Okay, I got a few more scope questions if I
Yeah,
can
please,
continue.
please stay on the scope.
Okay, I'm doing that now. So is the HVAC downstairs that was illegally installed, is that part of the 950 square foot scope that you, that got to bid in
It was not. This is something that Mike Campion found a couple of weeks ago when they turned on all the systems because the building was getting hot. They wanted to test them and they found none of them working. He called whoever our HVAC system guy is. He came out, he got the upstairs floor one working, went into the basement and found these other two not properly wired, not properly oh gosh, grounded is the word I think I want to use. So, and they both were not, they were both broken on top of that. So this was not included in the scope of work.
I actually personally toured that building with the former building inspector. So I have seen it from, you know, the whole building. I didn't hear the eye wash. The eye wash is also included in that part, in that bid that's going out in the fall.
Correct.
Okay. The lockers, break room and kitchens, the 19 police officers, that's located downstairs.
Yes.
I mean, the scope is planned for downstairs.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I have an idea on that, but that is not part of the scope for Labor Day.
It is not.
No.
And so by definition,
I got all my.
so there was a
questions
phase one and a phase
Okay.
two, and the upstairs was supposed to be phase one, and the downstairs was supposed to be phase two. But because there was not enough money ever set aside for this building, the chief and I agreed with the council president as commissioner to divide the downstairs into phase 2A, which is the processing center, phase 2B, which is the lockers, kitchen, bathroom, and phase 2C, which is the Sally Port. And for anybody who doesn't know what a Sally Port is, it's that structure that police bring their cars into when they have a prisoner so that they can't get out and run away.
Right. Okay, I have one or two more questions related to that rear wall. With how many block infills did you find that have to be filled in that is affected in that 950 square foot space? I'm assuming
The
they're
exterior,
doors is what they are.
I'm sorry, say that again?
the infill, the CMU infill on, I'm assuming are former windows or doors on the exterior
There were
wall.
windows, yeah, that were installed before our,
How many are there in the scope?
there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 in that area.
All effect, those are, yeah, only the area
5, at least 5, I think.
at 950 square foot space that needs to be renovated. There's 5.
I believe so.
Okay, it's approximate. I'm not gonna hold you to it, Angela. It sounds like the New Jersey, the DOC official that toward it is certainly open to the idea of renovation versus new construction and how you do have to adjust maybe some of what the construction is to meet his and, the legally, his goals. Did you discuss at all doing a double CMU wall, like literally outside of the openings of the hollow CMU walls, like making it a double, like a double 8 wall out there? Because I know there's no setback in the street, it's on the backside.
No, we did not. We also have the Sally Port and to think about for future. So we're trying to anticipate future items as well. So, that also takes up space. And you're also digging a new foundation right next to the existing foundation. There's a lot that goes into adding another wall on the exterior of the building. So.
And my last question is, are these plans going to be available for us to review? And when are they before the bid goes out, and when will that be?
That's what we're talking about for, the plan is for next Friday, not this coming Friday, the week of, hold on a second. I'm trying to remember what the date is. So the week of the 21st. So late that week, we'd give it to you and the DOC to take a look at
Before the end of
before,
the month.
yeah, before the end of the month.
And Angela, also talk about the 20 gauge walls instead of the block.
Oh, the 12 gauge?
12 gauge, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's a panel system that can be used on the inside of the walls on the interior, so that you can get the requirement of the Department of Corrections and meet what is needed for those holding cells and the processing area.
So we won't have to do any masonry work, Suzanne. That's the whole point. So
Yeah.
instead of having to figure out how to fill block that's already there, this 12 gauge system will take that instead.
Correct.
We don't have to bring in another trade. I get it.
Right.
What's the manufacturer of that 12 gauge panel? Like, what do you usually spec?
There's actually a product.
It's Acousticell by Gordon. Metal wall systems for security environments.
Thank you. Okay, so what you're saying is that when you submit to the Department of Corrections on the on or about the 25th, and us, does that include like full front end public bid specs and
It'll be on sheet specs with that information.
on
Yeah, but-
sheets?
But the front end will be we'll get the front end from Flemington.
Correct, yeah.
Our standard front end,
Correct.
and you'll be taking a look at that and coordinating that in the 2 weeks after.
Yes.
Yes.
So what you're saying is from the end of August to 2 weeks later, the DOC is going to be able to turn that around in order for you to issue an advertisement for bid by like September 8th, 2 weeks later.
Mhm.
You can't guarantee.
I don't know. I can't control what the DOC does, so.
They said that they would cooperate with us because they understand the situation that you're in. So-
That they are estimating these things, he's gonna submit it, and then it's up to DOT on when they're gonna get it back to us, but they can't.
Right.
Typically, how long does DOC turn things around for you?
So there isn't a typical with DOC, but
Exactly, that's my concern about the
so,
date of the Labor Day bid.
right. So, but Angela has been able to develop a pretty good relationship with the guys at the DOC. So,
Great.
and they said that they would work with us. So I'm hoping that, by the second or, middle of September, we can have all of their comments back. And
We'll probably not go to bid anytime earlier than the end of September.
mid-September. But here's the thing. We are working with them now with the DOC so that their review of our documents shouldn't take that long because Angela's been able to do what they've requested. And as I said, they're willing to work with us.
Great. All
And
that,
we've kept them in the loop.
that's all my questions. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman Rossetti, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, I'm just trying to understand the block wall with the metal sheets. Is that the entire exterior of that area, or is that just where the windows were filled in that needs
No,
reinforcement?
it would be the area. So if you have like the where the cells are, so you're going to need to encapsulate. I'll call it encapsulate that area. And a good portion of the wall between what will be the police officers area and the cells. So it's
So
not
the
every,
entire-
yeah. So it's probably like a U shape.
Okay.
So it's,
Okay.
and it's on the inside of the outside walls. It's
Yeah.
not on the outside. It's on the inside of the outside walls.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
that makes sense. And then the HVAC that was installed improperly and having issues, is that something that can be repaired and brought up to code, or do we need a whole new system?
And so I think, Mike was getting costs for new systems. I don't think they're working at all.
Oh, okay.
They're still
Okay,
working.
and then I don't know if you guys are the right people to ask this question, but like, once this all goes to bid, do you have any experience with like approximately how long the work would take, or we have to wait till we get the bid and they would give us a better estimate?
It all depends on the contractor and how quickly they source materials. If things are back ordered, it's not a big space, but there's a lot of pieces to it, right? They're going to have to chop and for the floor drains, they're going to need to do reinforced walls. New walls that go up do have to meet the reinforcement of the DOC. So all those types of things, it's not a big space, but there's a lot of pieces to it.
Okay, all right, thank you, that's all I got.
Anything else, Councilwoman? No? Attorney, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, ask the police officer, he's probably got too many questions. Anybody back up here for a second round?
No.
No, thank you.
Yeah, real quick. I'll make it real quick. I just want to opine for a moment because we're talking about one thing that, we have a very important project here. As police commissioner, the current situation isn't terrific. Just the other day, I got a video from the chief. There was a water spillage from the roof and they're getting that cleaned up and cleared up. But, we've had things happen and we don't want to have them happening in such frequency. So I just want to thank you for being so, having that sense of urgency. We hired you guys and you got right to it. And I remember seeing you at the police department. It all happened, and
Yeah.
we're in a good way, good speed here. So I just wanted to, kind of state the council and everyone that you've got a very important project here and, construction even on Main Street that ties up our small businesses and it hampers their business. So the sooner we get our police moved, it's just better for everybody all around. So again, I just wanted to say thanks for your promptness here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Back to Angela, because 5 days after we gave you the contract, you already had drawings done with the chief, and had sent a whole crew in there to measure and look, and a week later, you had the Department of Corrections in there doing a walk around, for the first time. So you have moved with lightning speed, knowing how urgent this is to get our police department out of a building that is just inhumane to have them in. So thank you both. Thanks for all your time tonight.
You're welcome.
You bet. Our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Right.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Good night.
So moving along in the agenda, my report. So, I don't do social media, as I keep saying. I really hate it. And I know that Councilman Parker has also talked about, politicizing things and using YouTube as a rumor mill. So, last night, the former mayor, made 2 attacks at myself and some members of council, regarding transparency. What a coincidence. We're talking about a building that she never vetted in public and never discussed, and maybe if she did, some of these questions and issues wouldn't have happened, these problems. On 2 counts. One, the failure for the municipality to post minutes since the latter part of March. And the second one regarding the posting of YouTube videos. So I'm actually going to ask and put Carla on the spot, our new clerk. She did not know I was going to do this, but I am going to put you on the spot regarding the minutes. And Carla started with us on May 25th. Minutes have not been posted.
No, I started June 12th.
I'm sorry, June 12th,
Minutes have not been done.
posted since the end of March.
Yes,
So-
and they haven't been, April and May have not been done before I came.
Okay, April
So
and May
now-
minutes have not been done while our former administrator, acting clerk, was here. Lengthy meetings, they were about 4 hours. They were the budget meetings. And then you came in the middle of June. You want to just tell us what the status of all the minutes are?
Well, I did do June 12th, they're on the agenda. I have to listen to all of them. And like you said, they're 4 hours apiece.
These are the ones that Mr. Humphrey did
Right.
not do before he left.
And it's a busy office with the window and everything going on. I get interrupted, so it's gonna take me a while.
And what about this second meeting in June and the July meetings?
Those I could work on, they're shorter, but I still have to listen to the audio since, they were a good 2 hours or so, so they're all long. People don't realize how long they are. You get interrupted during the day, it's gonna take a while.
Okay, but you are working on getting.
I am
them all
working
done.
on
Okay.
them, but
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to hold you accountable for when you were here.
right,
But
I understand
Mr.
that,
yeah,
but I
but-
wasn't here.
No, the
in
former
April,
acting
May.
clerk,
Yeah.
he did you dirty by not doing the minutes before he left. So that's regarding that. And I can't make any excuses for anybody regarding that. I mean, it is what it is. You were new. These are new
I had
systems
clean
to
up the
you.
office.
Well, there was a lot.
Yeah.
There were new programs for you to learn also that you weren't using in your former job as a clerk. Regarding the YouTube, however, I'm gonna take real exception about this. The YouTube account for this town was created by the former mayor in 2018. That's right on YouTube. It was started in March of 2018. And Mr. Humphrey contacted her prior to him leaving because he tried to give our new clerk access. She had given him access through his Gmail account, and he could not give Carla access because he is not the owner or administrator of the account. She never returned his phone calls, and she never returned his email. After that, our OEM coordinator, Sergeant Corporal McNally, who's on vacation this week, also reached out to her personal email, asking her for information on how to get into the YouTube account. And she never responded to him, a police officer. Mr. Humphrey did post all minutes through May, which included all of our budget hearings. Everything was posted and up to date until he left.
He posted it on YouTube, just there.
Yes, he posted it on YouTube as well as the planning board meetings. The council president reached out to her by phone about a week ago. He has yet to hear from her as well. Interestingly, after the hit on Facebook last night about how I am not transparent. She did email the clerk today and said, I was cut off from everything as of January. I have no access to anything. However, she could have told that to anybody, but the fact of the matter is, she did give the account information or gave him access, Mr. Humphrey access. So she was the only person who can give access. I have been digging through this with Corporal McNally for about 2 weeks, trying to get to the bottom of it. And I think I'm on the verge of figuring out how to get in. I mean, Corporal O'Malley is ready to contact or McNally through the police, YouTube, to seize control of this account. It's part of my thing that no politician, elected official should ever own anything that is something that is government, should be government owned. But the fact of the matter is we can't get control of it because we don't have access to the password to get into it or the user information. We don't know who it is. So that is why nothing has been posted on YouTube. Now, having said that, all of the budget meetings have been posted on YouTube. And I bring that up specifically because the reason that this YouTube channel was created by her in 2018 was because she wanted to record the budget meetings and post them because we weren't doing any social media then. It was before COVID. And nobody from the public ever comes to budget meetings. So she created a YouTube channel. She recorded budget meetings and she posted them in 2018. They have all disappeared from the site, by the way. In 2019, when she became mayor, she refused to record the meetings and did not post any of the budget meetings. And more disturbingly, whether they're workshops or executive sessions or council meeting, whatever you want to call it, if it's got a quorum, meaning 4 people in a room, publicly noticed, you must have, whether it's publicly noticed or not, you got 4 elected officials in a room talking business. By law, you are supposed to take minutes and you should have the clerk there. However, for 4 years, I have now found out, not only wasn't the clerk present during her tenure for any of the budget meetings, none of them were recorded, and there are no minutes for any of them, even though they were held as noticed work sessions. This is a complete violation of the Open Public Meetings Act, and it is a complete violation of the trust of the public. So how dare she say I am not transparent when I had every meeting here in this room with Bill Hands, our CFO, live on video with all of you here at full public meetings. And those minutes will be done, but those recordings have been available since March and April and May. So I am not going to let anybody say I'm not transparent when buildings are purchased in this town for $1.5 million and without an architectural design, without estimates, without having anybody look at them, inspected, and never discussed in public at all. And then I find out that 4 years of budget meetings, there are no minutes were taken, and no clerk was allowed to come. I mean, this is unconscionable, unconscionable. I'm done with my mayor's report. Thank you. So, Council President.
Okay, thank you. So, police report, during the Corn, Beer, and Tomato Fest, there were 4 heat-related squad calls, but no other incidents.
7. She's saying 7.
I heard 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So got reported.
okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we've had it happen before. Yeah.
It was hot.
It's really hot.
Gotta hydrate then. You gotta just stay cool and drink your water. So on the 12th, the resident reported his car was taken by his daughter without consent. The car was found on 8/14. I'm sorry, the FEMA was found on 8/14 and was taken into custody by Detective Garibrand and Patrolman Allah. On the 14th, an individual was arrested by Detective Garibrand after the vehicle he was in was stopped in the Steve's parking lot. Suspect ran while being taken into custody and was subsequently apprehended after a foot pursuit. This person was charged with possession of narcotics, drug paraphernalia, and eluding arrest. There was an outstanding warrant from the Hunter County Sheriff's Office against the suspect. Courts, I don't have anything particularly new to report today. Besides all the records are being kept up to date under the court administrator's eye. But I had a quick question for clarification. If Bill, if I could ask you a quick question, it's basically a yes or no.
He goes up there.
Okay, this
Bill's
is
up
not the
there.
one.
I can sort of see.
He's raised his hand.
So, Carly, you just need to make him a participant.
Okay. That's easy enough. There he is.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
I'll make it quick. So just so that I'm sure I'm educating correctly here, I get the disbursement reports from the court administrator. And when I look at this, there's something, it says municipal treasurer. Is that money that's dispersed to the borough? Or is that something else?
Yes, that money is what our fees are. She sends some money to the state, we get our share, and then there's also POAA and public defender fees that comes to the borough as well.
This is actually money that is
General funds money?
it's like fines from speeders or whatever. That's what that money is.
Correct. Yeah, that's the money we anticipate in the budget as revenue.
And that goes into the general funds, Bill?
What'd you say?
Does that go into the general funds or is it earmarked for something?
Yes, it goes into the general fund, yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. I just want to make sure I was right there. So I get the disbursement reports. One of the things, we've now, joined the Raritan Court. There's other municipalities that are part of that court as well. But that's one of the services that we now share. And we went through a transition period with the court administrator, but things are rolling along and the reports are being done. And there's no backup. We're in a good place right now with everything. The fines and everything are coming in. As far as anything else, I wanted to just try to keep this really brief. So on the subject of civic engagement, I've kind of decided that, as an elected official, I want to use this ability I have to kind of do something. So I'm really gonna, I've tried to focus a bit on civic stuff and some of it kind of fell by the wayside or got complicated. So the next 2 years, I just want to publicly state that I plan to make a focus of this office, my role in it, to kind of bring people together in town. So last week I decided to kind of start this with, I got to get some thoughts out there. So I started a Substack page that basically it's a free resource where I'm hoping to fill residents and stakeholders in on things that I've been learning about since first taking office in 2020. And that I think, one of the things in the education world, we have a phrase, the curse of knowledge. And basically, you have this awareness of what versus what those under your tutelage, or in this case, those I represent, understand. So there's a gap, and I want to fill those gaps in, certainly. So I've always been a firm believer in guiding people through the process, but I'm one person, and I certainly do not have all the answers. I like learning, and I like passing along what I know. So I tend to see the bigger picture a lot, and I wanted to share that and get some conversation going around the big issues in town. Plan to discuss our history, where we are as a community right now, where we are possibly going. I want to create this sense and scene, but I need to get people talking. That's so key. We need to have people talking to each other who would not normally do so, having better conversations, seeing things differently, working through to a shared vision. We're a very diverse town, and I mean diverse in all areas, age, gender, race, sexuality, everything. I'm a firm believer that diversity is strength. As a matter of fact, it is through diversity of thought that a community grows stronger. So that's my goal. You can read my posts on a bi-weekly basis, and I'm going to have those up at jlongflemington.substack.com. My goal is to create constructive conversations from these posts. Ultimately, my goal here is to get people away from screens so that we're talking face to face, person to person. I'll keep everybody posted through the process. but this will take some time and work. It's not easy, but the goal, I believe, is worthwhile. Let's make a more perfect union in Flemington Borough. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Councilwoman, Vice President.
So I just want to say thanks to everyone that came and participated in the Corn Tomato and Beer Festival. Without your attendance, there would definitely be no reason to hold such an event. Personal thanks to the Flemington Fire Department, their officers, board, and family members. It was hot, it was humid, and it rained. Thanks again always for your continued dedication to the fire department and this event. And thank you to Detective Garabrand for your assistance at the end of the evening.
That is it. Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Rossetti.
I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Parker.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say, I actually, for the first time participated in the Corn Tomato and Beer Festival as a volunteer in setup. And I will say this, that for what Robin puts on, I'm going to give you kudos because that's a lot of orchestration. It's a lot. And I'm just watching people as the vendors are coming in, people are setting up and you know, issues come up and, you know, I heard Robin say, okay, so what's the solution? Which is a great leader thing, bro, by the way. When you ask people what is the solution, it's supposed to give them the solution. And so it was a great experience. I'm sorry I could not attend the festival. I jammed up my knee. At the same time, I was hosting a, because I didn't write down the dates. I have this problem with writing down dates. I had a conflict and I was hosting a benefit for NAACP and with 45 people at my house. Here's what I'm going to say, and the reason that's important is because one of the things that NAACP is not what people thought it was back in the 60s, because back in the 60s it was a type of thing for outreach of civil unrest and making it peaceful, right? It has completely changed, and now it's all about education, and it's all about bringing people together. It's all about how do you make people included as opposed to excluded. They're doing a lot of things in public school systems and charter schools with kids and with teachers, and they are absolutely working to get embedded in the Flemington Borough as well as Raritan and throughout Hunterdon County. They've just organized the chapter in about a year and a half ago, and they're really doing some great stuff. So I was honored to host this for them, and the people that actually attended this are some pretty high rollers. I mean, you know, that's a national NAACP president there, as well as the New Jersey Department of, I think it's civil something, I can't. Anyway, but what it did for me is it validated the fact that there is opportunity here to join together. That's what it did for me. And so you'll be hearing more and more, and I've actually invited them to come to some of our council meetings, and you know, one of the things I would like to do is do a work session with them so that they can explain what they're doing now and who they are and how they've evolved. So I think it's a really good thing. I'm really proud to be a part of the organization. The other thing that I have is that the newsletter. So we are working towards the newsletter. I'm getting articles from a lot of council members and getting some outside help. We you know, I want to just set expectations. We're going to crawl, walk, run on this because our former clerk kind of
Overpromised.
and totally underdelivered. Totally underdelivered. So the people that are helping us publish it, they're under one assumption. I'm under another assumption, and we finally came together. I'm meeting with her tomorrow, as a matter of fact, to kind of straighten everything out and get the first publication out. We don't want to delay the first publication. I think it's important to get something out. I do think it's important that everybody understands what's going on. But I will tell you that the publication that's coming out in November is gonna be much more robust, but I just want to start by starting. So we will be going out to, and I will need all of your help, going out to the businesses to ask if they would just put the publications in their respective places so that people pick it up. We will focus on doing a Hispanic version. We are trying to locate someone who can help us out. I know that we're talking to United Way to help us out as well, but I'm really enthusiastic about doing this because the goal really is this to let people know what's going on and what's not going on. So squash the rumors and he said, she said, and I heard. Because when everybody tells me I heard, I'm saying, well, who did you hear it from? Well, wait a minute. If you didn't hear it from the person who actually has the information, it doesn't count, right? So now we are getting all the people who have the information so that it counts. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Thanks. In regards to planning board, there's several items on tonight's agenda that we've been working on and that we've passed up to the council for consideration, so you'll hear about those later. I want to thank our new construction code official, John, for attending our meeting last week. And there was one thing that was mentioned that I'd like to just point out that John does have office hours Monday through Friday, 6 to 9:30 a.m. So he's physically here then, if anybody has any personal questions that you want to catch him on, but obviously, if you're not available during those office hours, I'm sure if they leave a message, you get back to them. So I appreciate you coming. In regards to schools, the next Fleming and Raritan School District meeting is August 28th at 7 p.m. And our local school, our local borough school, at Rifus, there is an orientation on August 22nd at 10 a.m. for any new fifth graders and any new sixth graders in the school district. The high school, the next Board of Ed meeting is August 21st at 7 p.m. And there's also a parent orientation on August 28th at 6:30 p.m. for new students there, as well as a student social. And the freshman orientation is actually August 29th at 8:30 a.m. So that's the school. I would like to tack on just to mention to Councilman Parker that certainly Liz and I would be happy to and thrilled to chat with you and the NAACP to coordinate anything related to school programs that they have, and we'd love to kind of liaison that if you'd like. As the museum, the Fleming House, they had a last minute August event that they thought would be nice, and it was a great success. It was about sunflowers in colonial America, so I want to thank Julia Whitley for that. They also relaunched their website. So anybody that would like to learn more about the Samuel Fleming House, the new website is www.samuelfleminghouse.org. They have tours every second Saturday of every month. And garden yoga continues every Tuesday at 6:30 through October. So look out for that. Finally, the animal control, I did note to Maureen this morning, I think she mentioned to Carla that I noticed that the links to the forms for the registration, and yeah, I know you know this, but I wanted to make sure that it was, we apologize if the links are not working on the website right now. And they're, our very hardworking people in the Borough Hall are working to fix that. So that's my whole report.
Can I give one more thing real quick?
Yeah, I
So one of the things I neglected to talk about was the Fiesta Festival that happened on Captain. Oh, Bolter, I'm thinking. It was actually, you know what, it was, I didn't get to stay for a very long time, but I went because Robin asked me to come and visit in United Way. I didn't see you. Where were you? I was there. Where were you?
I was there and I didn't see you.
But I will say, and I think
It was
you'll
fun.
agree,
was a lot of
they
fun.
did such a great job, and I learned so much from those organizations that were there. I didn't realize that there were so many different Latinos that reaching out to the community in terms of health, in terms of housing, in terms of employment, in terms of child welfare and things like. But it was so good. And what I really liked about it is everybody there was so happy. Like everybody was so happy, and I kept going. I said to Robin, I said, I've never seen people so happy. And you know, kids, parents, they were friendly and happy. So I think, you know, United Way did a really, really, really good job at that. And that's really kind of what I'd like to see melding together with everything else so that everybody feels like that happiness and that they're feeling a part of something. And it makes everybody feel special because they absolutely, that community felt very special.
Great, thank you. All right, we're up to public comment period, the first one. What? I did this.
Yeah,
Share the report.
Oh, sorry.
or no
It's
report.
okay.
I usually check off the names.
Oh.
So I would not be good.
So if anybody has anything, to bring to the council, please come up front. I'm gonna throw a microphone. Mr. Christine, can you spare one of those?
Sure.
No, it's right there.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
moved it over there so this way they can see it on the video.
Okay, I'm invoking the 3-minute democracy, we have a long agenda. We're gonna try.
It should
Thank
just,
you.
is it red or green?
Now, is this working?
What's it about? It's green versus us here.
If it's green, then it's working.
Yeah. Liz, can you hear Robin? Robin?
I can hear her, but it's not super loud though, but I can hear.
Really working very well, but
There you go.
that's
Okay.
better.
Not talking to it.
Right. You know what? Is
Right,
that
we're
where
like
it
an
goes?
ice cream cone, yes.
Okay, all right, we got it. So, Robin Lapidus, Executive Director of the Flemington Community Partnership. I just wanted to say, first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who is in this room, who came and helped, or who got us to the festival. Thank you for volunteering. I know you were out of town. Thanks for coming. Thanks for helping. Thank you for for coming and getting us through over that hurdle that we had, but this year we had to turn away vendors. That's never really happened before. We also met all of our deadlines, which was painful, but amazing at the same time, because it gave us this opportunity to really stop and say, oh my God, we could probably have 3 times the vendors. Maybe we want to be a little more selective. And I think in the future, we will have the opportunity to get out ahead of everything and be a little more selective in who comes and how we work our businesses into the mix. But basically, we had a very safe, diverse, welcoming, friendly farm to festival farm. We did a farm to fabric, be a part of the art project. We connected with the Department of Agriculture to tie in the Jersey Fresh initiative. So we tried really hard this year to be a little more thoughtful. You know, post-COVID, just being able to stand in the sun with people you may know or not know and enjoy fresh air, sunshine, food, you know, seeing people is so valuable. But we also want to really be sure that people are getting the messages about Flemington, about our businesses, about our community, about our art, about our values, and give them a really good reason to talk about us, which is always what events are about. It gets you in the press, it gets people talking about you, it gets people putting you on their calendar, it gets them there. And once they're there, you know, hopefully they have a great experience and they come back. So I just want to point to this thing we do. It's
called Aspedia. And it's an ad, that gives us this much, real estate. I think this is really like the best buy you could ever get. But basically, in addition to all of our festival messages, we do tell people that we're home to 50 eateries, 90 fitness, beauty, wellness businesses, 300 shops, something for everyone. And we really try really hard to carry the important messages through. We also have a list of upcoming events like the Central Jersey Jazz Festival, which everybody should come back for on the 9th. And we thank our sponsors, who I will quickly thank right now. Stangle Stage, LA Mental Health, Aunt Mary's Dispensary, Discover Central New Jersey, ShopRite, The Corner, the Neighborhood Preservation Program, and Explore 100 and the other side of New Jersey. So I think that we had a great event, and we really look forward to everybody's input and feedback, our debrief, because we only do this once a year, and we had 140 vendors. I think we had about 7,000 people. It's a lot of moving parts. And you only get once a year to see it come to life and then to tweak it and fix it for the future. So we really are open to everybody's suggestions. And I think that's it. I thank you.
Great job, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. It was a lot of fun.
It was awesome.
I'm sorry, Robin, did you say what the date of the Jazz Festival was?
It's
September 9th.
September 9th, which is new this year. We've always been the Friday night edition. And this year we got to move to Saturday because this year it's just, what's that?
New Brunswick is not doing.
New Brunswick is doing, Middlesex is having their own jazz festival for themselves and all of their all their groups. We're having the Central Jersey Jazz Festival, which is just two really strong partners, Flemington Saturday night and Somerville on Sunday. So we're really trying to we're hoping that we can get people to come and stay in a hotel for the night and go to both. We're both going to try to do more like food and wine to make it a little more of a fun event and more of a showcase for our amazing restaurants. And, we have done so much for the corn and the tomato and the beer, and all of that was evidenced in the things that our businesses came up with. But we do require that our businesses that come to the event, that they have some kind of very creative corn and tomato recipe, or that they use corn and tomato. So we had cornbread ice cream and tomato macaroons, and we really had some fabulous dishes and creativity at the event.
This Thursday night's the Sip and Stroll, right?
This Thursday night is the Sip and Stroll, and the theme is the Dog Days and Starry Nights of Summer. And we have pet readings within Spirit. You can bring your pet for a psychic.
They're gonna read to her?
No, that's a good idea though. No, we have pet adoption groups coming. We have some what's becoming really fun is like throwing out a theme and seeing how creative everybody can get around it. But I just have to say, you have to come and see the outdoor art gallery at the Groundhog Kiln. We have a show by Les Tilley and Jimmy Roselli from the New Jersey Astronomical Association. It's gorgeous. I believe we are the only people who have a very intentional 24/7 outdoor gallery. People have sculpture, towns have sculpture, but they don't really have a 24/7, 365 gallery on vinyl. And it is fantastic, but you really, really, really should come and see it. And they'll be there that night with they brought telescopes to see the sun at, the Corn Tomato and Beer Festival. Now they're gonna bring telescopes to see some evening things, and they're coming back to do Q&As. So we have something that's very STEAM oriented, science, technology, education, art, and math, wrapped up in this gallery in the cultural district on Sangle Road. So bring your kids, bring your families, bring your friends. It's awesome.
Thanks, Robin.
Just what time is the jazz festival?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Thank
Yes.
you.
And we will about,
I didn't need anything else, just the time. Thank you.
but we're about to do heavy promotion. And I will just tell you, if you take a free ticket to our free event, you can win a t-shirt. So sign up.
Okay.
Jazz festival, when you do all of them, it's really,
Yeah.
really great. And Flemington, before I moved to Flemington, I did so. Started with my
Great.
refreshment. And some of those.
So
I'm glad you were on food and liquid. Now we'll be on the level of something.
Great. Anybody else from the public? Come on, up. Don't be shy. Okay, moving on. Into the regular part of the agenda, we have a couple of public,
No approval minutes. Let's get one.
sorry, I
thing.
think.
Somebody's got a hand up. Somebody has a hand up online.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what do I do?
Just, allow them to talk.
Well, I need a name and a.
Well, don't
Lori?
they say that?
Lori. Hi, Ms. Dagnito, you have 3 minutes. I need your name and your.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I need your name.
I'm going to talk really fast. My name is Lori Stagnito, Lambertville Animal Welfare. I'm an animal welfare advocate that has worked in Hunterdon County for over 20 years with other rescue groups, shelters, vets, etc. I'm a certified animal control officer, certified animal cruelty investigator, and I am here tonight to talk about why animal control was changed from Carolyn Murphy to Animal Control Solutions. Carolyn Murphy is one of the best animal control officers in New Jersey. She cares deeply about the animals. She works with shelters and other rescue groups so that animals are not euthanized. I could go on and on about her work. And I cannot say anything about Animal Control Solutions because I've gotten letters from their attorneys in the past, as has other people who try to stand up and explain that they're not the best company when it comes to your residents and the animals. I had sent you all a letter last month about this, and I did not receive a reply. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions, but I'd like to understand why her contract was not renewed, why there was no discussion with her.
First of all, Ms. Signy, this is a comment period. Under the law, the council does not have to respond to any questions.
Okay.
This is also contract law. It was put out for proposal. It was discussed 2 weeks prior to the council voting to change contracts. And one of the major reasons was because our police department was having issues with delayed response.
So I find that shocking because, and I did.
Yes, you want, but that is.
Okay, I have 3 minutes. So I've worked closely with Carolyn for many, many years. Carolyn lives 15 minutes from Flemington. She works 24/7. I've always understood her to have an amazing relationship with the police department and an amazing relationship with the residents of Flemington Borough, including, people like who live in Hunter Hills and Prospect Hills, including the Hispanic population who are often scared of people in uniform. She really has established an amazing relationship with your residents, and I have never heard of any complaints from the police department about her work. She knows all the police officers. They seem to adore her. This is quite shocking to all of us. And it's a detriment to the animals and the residents of Flemington Borough. And I'm just really sad. I'm someone who has worked with Tabby's Place and so many other organizations to do TNR in Flemington Borough for the past 20 years. We have helped with the outside cat population. We work together with the residents. And I just want to say it's really upsetting, devastating, and just really upset about it. All of us are in rescue because we don't work with Animal Control Solutions. We have different philosophies about how to treat people and animals. Thank you.
Fine, thank you. Anybody else from the public? Anybody other? I should have asked about him.
There's a few, okay.
You have to close the other
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
out.
Do I
Oh,
need-
close? Okay, sorry.
Can't even see
Does it say
this.
go back to the-
Oh, remove permission to talk.
There you
Okay.
go. No,
Which one was the other one?
There you go.
Hello,
No, I just need your name and your municipality for the record, please. You have 3 minutes.
sure, okay, my name's Tony Ising, Flemington, Hunter Hills. I'm also, calling in regards to the, animal control, situation. As Lori has stated, I have worked with rescues, I've been involved in it for 20-some years. I've worked side by side with Carolyn. I've also been engaged with Animal Control Solutions. Now, as Lori mentioned, I ran into a police officer the other day, and he seemed pretty shocked. He didn't know that Carolyn was no longer with you. As far as I know, I've spoken to many police officers. I've also TNR'd in Flemington many, many times in the borough, and that's something that Animal Control Solutions doesn't do. So your population of your cats will grow because they will not do that, okay? Because whatever Carolyn does, Carolyn will contact other people in rescue to help out. She also has, I noticed for a fact, being, in Hunter Hills, the Spanish community, one of the things about the Spanish community is they have their values are a little different as far as when it comes to spaying, neutering, and they feel, in their culture. Well, Carolyn has also talked to them about vaccines, getting their animals vaccinated, and also about the importance of why to spay and neuter your animals. She has educated them. Okay. The population of the cats, especially in the town of Flemington, has with Carolyn has gone down quite a bit. And like I said, I've worked alongside with Carolyn for a few years, and I've also, like I said, done TNR in Flemington. Also, I can give you a personal experience right now. Raritan Township got a call that there was a cat problem. This is just last week. Okay, Animal Control Solutions is the animal control. Now, the person that called was told by Animal Control Solutions there was a cat problem. Call the police. Well, I happen to know some of the officers. They called me and they said, what's going on? Animal Control Solutions, well, that's not our problem. That is their problem. They would not come out with it because it's with Animal Control Solutions. It is not about the community. It's not about your residents. It's not about you. It is about money with their Animal Control Solutions. They do not treat their animals right. They do not treat people right. So I also have something like 3, I believe, full-time officers for 50 towns. So they can't get to you. So in the meantime, while there is a serious cat problem, in this situation where the cat was injured, they didn't want to come out. Okay, they said, call the police. Now, that's their job. Like I said, I have had personal dealings with them in Carolyn. So I'm also sort of shocked that there would be any kind of, complaint. I mean, one thing I know that some residents don't understand is that when you go to try to trap cats, you do not feed them. Okay, and you to try to get the cats. Well, some residents keep doing it, and it's sometimes very frustrating because you're trying to keep the population down, trying to help them, and they're, going against what you've advised them to do. So again, like I said, I'm very shocked. I think a lot of people in your town, I know, are very shocked. I talked to a lot of residents. And one other thing I want to mention before I close
is that I'm a little disappointed because I called up and asked to speak to the mayor and nobody ever got back to me. So talk about transparency. I think that I should have got a phone call or something back and I never got anything back. And I know other people have said that they've called and they've not gotten any responses back. That's it.
Yeah. Anybody else, Carla?
No. Oh, no.
Okay.
I don't know why her.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, just to make it clear to the public, this is a legally noticed, duly solicited bid by our CFO and entered into a contract legally, publicly noticed on our agenda and now signed into law. So approval of minutes, regular session, June 12, 2023.
Tilly will move.
For a second,
Hold on a second.
roll, I guess we do want roll call. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
objections? Or abstentions? Okay, under the consent agenda, we have nothing. Public hearings, we have two ordinances, ordinance 2023-21. An ordinance amending chapter 9A-3 construction permit fees to modify various fee amounts. Can I have a motion to open it to the public?
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Purpose.
A public hearing is now open. Anybody wishing to comment on this ordinance, please come up forward, state your name and municipality for the record. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close?
I don't know, there's a hand up, but I don't know if that's Miss Icing from the
It
last
is.
comment.
It is.
If she has another comment on this, or if she can put her hand down. If that's.
Right. Allow
Ms.
her to
Icing, do you want to, if you want to not comment on this ordinance, I need you to put your hand down.
And she's muted. We can't hear her respond.
Okay, I'm going to assume you're not, you don't want to, Ms. Icing, if you want to comment on this ordinance, please take yourself off mute and make your comment. Okay,
I'm assuming it's still up then from her.
right,
public
right, so go ahead. Somebody want to make a motion to close the public?
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Hold on a second.
Okay, can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-21? I'm gonna ask a question second.
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Hold on a second.
Discussion, we have our construction official here in the public. Any discussion? Ms. Tilly?
Yeah, on section 1, number 1, it's blank. Do we need to just readjust the numbers or just note that number 1 is blank?
That's a is that a clerical thing, Carla? That falls under the resolution we passed at the beginning of the year under clerical technical.
Should be.
Wait,
I just don't want to leave a blank.
Number 1?
Somebody put something else in there.
Yeah.
On page 9.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I have to ask John when he
Do
tomorrow.
you need something in there?
Take a look at it right now.
It might be just blank as
I
an
think it's
error.
okay because he saw it before this was.
No, I did not notice that.
So just make number 2, number 1.
I'm fine with that. That's a non-substantive change.
Yeah, the concept is
I don't,
falls under the
you know,
resolution.
strict I am with those mayor, but I.
The way it was presented based on that.
I would just cross off, want to move them all. I'm
Yeah.
fine proceeding.
Number
with
2.
that.
Okay.
John,
You know how
you
tough
can-
I am there.
you're confirming though, John, you're confirming there's nothing that was deleted. That was just a formatting
Not
thing.
that I know of, I was just gonna go to my office. Yeah. I have a minute. No.
We just have to double check also, because I need to
You know,
prove
you
this.
go ahead and do, we're gonna hold the vote until you get back, and we're gonna move on to the next public hearing.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2023-22, an ordinance amending chapter 7A titled Parking Regulations of the Borough of Flemington. This is to create a compact car space over at 134 Main Street due to site distance for a business driveway. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Tilly will- Go ahead, Jeremy.
Long.
Tilly will second.
This is now open to the public. Anybody wishing to comment on ordinance 2023-22? Just need your name and municipality. Again, we're gonna make an assumption that Ms. Icing's got her hand up because she never took it down from prior.
Was number 1.
Hang on a sec. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Tilly will move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Councilman Parker?
Yes.
Oh, wait, that's just that can't, don't need a motion.
Well, I gotta close the public hearing first. Oh, I guess we
See,
can.
I never did all this.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I've never not done all this. All in favor?
Aye.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-22?
Tilly will move.
Engelhardt will second.
Is there any discussion? Can I have a roll call?
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Council, Tilly?
Yes.
And Council President Holmes?
Yes.
Getting back to ordinance 23-21, number 2 is number 1, so it's just a way transcribed into the computer program.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Abstain.
Council Vice President Tilly?
Yes.
And Council President Holmes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Regular agenda. Our first item is a resolution denouncing the display of hate symbols on public property in the borough of Flemington. I've asked Councilman Parker if he would like to read this.
Whereas the borough of Flemington's mission is to create a sustainable, healthy, accessible, resilient, and equitable community where every person feels at home. And whereas the borough of Flemington values the First Amendment and crucial right of people to express themselves, and the borough also requires our parks, green spaces, public buildings, public streets, and all public spaces to be areas that are welcoming to all and free of fear, intimidation, and oppression. And whereas the borough of Flemington acknowledges that pockets of white supremacy and anti-Semitism exist throughout society, including here in our state and our borough, and where symbols of hate include Confederate flags, neo-Nazi imagery, and other symbols of white supremacy, and whereas hate symbols around the country have proven to elicit fear and create pain, many people, especially those in vulnerable communities. And whereas Flemington has experienced firsthand decisiveness of hate symbols in our community and wishes instead to engage in discussions, learning, and healing. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Borough of Flemington, by the Borough Council of Flemington, New Jersey, that the Borough Council denounces the display of hate symbols on public property in the borough.
Okay, can I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
Engelhardt moves.
Is there a second?
Long second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly?
Yes.
And Council President?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman, for reading that. Resolution amending the prior resolution 2023-127, authorizing the award of contract for engineering services, special project engineer to Martucci Engineering LLC of Flemington, New Jersey. I just want to let everyone know a little bit about the background of this. When we had the DPW in to go through all of the projects of importance to the water, the sewer, and the roads department, and put them into an order of which they would like to see done first as most important. The number one important project was getting Shields Avenue finished with the water tower, the main under Shields Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue, which is in Raritan Township, and that road repaved. The number two project was Main Street. There was funding awarded by the I-Bank for Main Street. I did attempt to get the I-Bank to move that funding to Shields Avenue so we could complete that project listed as number one. Unfortunately, that project, the DOT, there's two I-Banks. One is the DEP's I-Bank and one is the DOT's I-Bank in Trenton. And the DOT, when they award projects, they rank them, and there's a ranking system that in how they give points to give out money. It's not quite as generous as the DEP's IBank for sewer and water infrastructure. So, because it is awarded to specific projects that get ranked, they could not move money from the Main Street project, which was ranked, to Shields Avenue, which was not ranked. And further, to make matters worse, they said if we didn't accept the Main Street money, because we had gone through the process, the next time we applied to the IBank DOT side, it would cost us 5 points in a ranking system, which could be critical for getting money. So I put together an emergency meeting that included the council president, our bond counsel, Megan Bennett, through Dilworth Paxson, the IBank bond counsel, who represents both the DEP and the DOT, the representative from the IBank DOT, and Mike Campion from our DPW, and Bill Hance, our CFO. And the conclusion after that meeting was that Bill said that he could certify additional funds from the sewer department. We do not have enough money in our regular general accounts capital budget in the borough side, but we do have a sewer and a water side. In order to secure the funds to do a complete street from Church Street to the Circle. So in other words, if we just go ahead and do the road project that the DOT certified last year, I'm sorry, in 2020 and 2021, not last year. In a few years, we will have to rip that whole road up to do the sewer and water lines. And we won't have paid for that yet, because this is a loan, it's not just a grant. So it makes no sense to do the road without doing the sewer and water line. This includes the traffic light at the corner of Church and Main, which is now completely out of compliance with the DOT. So this includes a complete update to that crossing. And but what is going to make this a little bit more expensive, why we're going to have to go out to bond on this is one of the sections on Main Street where the sewer line is 20 feet down, which will require a 15-foot hole to replace it. So Rob Martucci did all the original engineering on this road as well as the light, and had already started the sewer water engineering when he got into his altercation with the former mayor. And so this would allow him to come back to complete this work and oversee this project. We were planning on doing this with him when we awarded him the special projects, but then because we figured we weren't going to get to Main Street for 5 years because of budget problems, we took that out of the contract. So this would put it back. I spoke to Rob today. He anticipates being able to have sewer water drawings finished in about a week or so. The IBank is urging us to get this sewer water line drawing in to start the money process ASAP, because it can take several months. We need to be out to bid and under construction before June of 2024. We'd actually like to see this project done by then. Not sure that's going to happen, but we could probably get close. So that's why this amendment to his contract. So I'm going to ask for a motion, a second, and then any discussion. So motion, please. Chilio, is there a second? Any questions or comments? Or
I have a comment first and then a question. The comment is just an administrative one. In the second paragraph down, it says adding the below project as paragraph F, as in Frank, little f, of the appropriate clause, but then the next line, it doesn't say F, it says number 1. So I think that's just a typo. Or it just needs to be checked with the former award. Does that make sense? Yeah, 24. See how it says paragraph F, but then it's referring to number 1?
Yeah, that could be just when it was converted.
Right, so I think this just needs to be fixed.
Thanks for catching that.
Right, and then number 2, where are we with Mr. Martucci's credit? is this the work, is the work associated with this anticipated to be part of his credit still?
He's gonna continue working that credit off until it's gone. And
I know he
then,
has like 800 hours. There's a lot of hours there. So I just was wondering, he hasn't used up those hours.
no,
yet?
no, no, Mr. Bill Hanford, CFO, is tracking that and, he's supposed to be, I think after the first full month or two, he's gonna start attaching that to the bill list, as a running total. Bill, oh, you took off mute. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, it was included in the last bill list, his report of what he spent, but not this one because he hasn't had any billings since the last bill list.
So, but we haven't
But if-
done 100 hours is the answer. Short
No.
answer. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no, and then he has a not to exceed amount, and if that ever gets close, we'll have to include it, but it's only 4 more months at the end of the year, so.
Right. I just wanted to
Yeah,
double
no,
check
he's
that.
gonna continue, we've got the credit, and all of this work is gonna fall into the credit until it's on.
Great. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Or Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly,
Yes.
and Council President Paul.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance, this is introduction of ordinance 2023, an ordinance amending the zoning map of Wilmington Borough. This is one of the, requests from the planning board to, the council to get it more in sync with the master plan. This ordinance amends the TC zone, and the, no, just the TC zone. I hope you had a chance to look at it. It's very comprehensive. It took about 3 months of Susan's in my life to do this. With Dennis Strode and Todd Cook and our professional Beth McManus. So can I have a motion to introduce?
Engelhardt moves.
Is there a second?
Long second.
Any discussion? Actually, we have discussion, it's an introduction, so roll call, please.
Or Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
And Council President Paul.
Thank
Yes.
you. The next one is ordinance 2023-24. This one amends the village artisan district, which is the Stengel Ultra area. Amending code 2623 of the code village artisan boss district. Can I have a motion to introduce?
Engelhardt moves.
Long second.
I should have said, when is our next meeting? Are we going to have a meeting, a second meeting in August? Did everybody agree that they didn't want a second meeting in August? Okay, so the public hearing on the first one will be September.
Do you want to make it all the same night?
Yeah,
September.
second meeting. I didn't bring myself one, so can't tell you what the date is.
The second.
The first meeting in September.
It's September 4th is Labor Day, so it would be
The 11th.
September 11th.
Okay, so the ordinance 2023, public hearing will be September 11th. Can I have a roll call on ordinance 2023-24? Did we do that already?
Yeah, oh, I have to call roll call.
Yes, please.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly.
Yes.
And Council President.
Yes.
Okay, that public hearing will also be September 11th, 2023. Introduction of ordinance 23-25, an ordinance entitled Public Art Committee. One of the things that the planning board asked is that there be more public art. The planning board subcommittee was united and unanimous that there should be some sort of public art committee that would oversee those selections of what was appropriate. That ordinance is also up for introduction to create this committee. Can I have a motion to introduce?
Engelhardt moves.
Is there a second?
Long second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Parker,
I'm just trying to get ahead of this. So can I ask you a question before we go to this?
yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure I understand. So is it to form a committee?
So the mayor,
approve-
it's like any committee, the mayor will make the appointments with the council, and then it is really to oversee art that would be in public spaces. I'll give you an example. The community garden people, they're getting a shed. They want, this is a fact, and they want to paint a mural on it. That is a fact. That is in a public space. So they can't just paint whatever they want. They'd have to go before this public art committee, which under the ordinance, I believe has a member of the planning board on it, a member of this council on it, somebody from HPC on it, and then 2 members of the public, not necessarily one could be not from Flemington Borough, but has to have an arts background.
Okay.
And they would be the ones that take the politics out of us making a decision of what's appropriate art.
Understood.
I would like to add, it's been a goal in the planning board's master plan since 2000 that I know of, that I've been involved, to have some sort of more defined public art, both opportunities and administration. And this ordinance request came through that process of the master plan. It's been it's been a request of the planning board for years. And I think it kind of organically was discussed by the planning board subcommittee when we started talking about the VAS district, and specifically because recently they had put up, they had some public art there, obviously, because it is the arts district. But the discussion came up of, okay, what is public art? How do we define it? And so we felt like this was a perfect opportunity to address the planning board's long time question of, hey, let's get some sort of formal definition of what public art means in this community and encourage it, but encourage it in a productive way.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Are we discussing? Because I've got a comment. Okay.
No, you might as well. I mean, but we really, I mean, when something's introduced, technically you don't have any discussion.
Well, I just want to piggyback on that. The planning board discussed this in 2000, and it's taken 23 years to bring it to council.
I'm sorry, not 23 years. 2010 was, I'm sorry, I apologize. 2010 was the first time I was involved with the master plan.
Okay.
It was in that master plan. I misspoke.
So it's just 13 years.
So always been a right home.
Come on now. 23 years.
I've lived here since 2000. In 2010 was when it was in the thing. Thank you for the clarification.
Please.
Okay, Councilman Parker.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelberg.
Yes.
Council Vice President Silly.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Thank you. Never again, no more discussion, no. Ordinance 2023, -26, an ordinance amending section 1201 of the code entitled definitions. Does exactly what it says. It creates better definitions for zoning code. Can I have a motion to introduce?
Chili mode.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Parker.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Silly.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Okay,
Planning board the same thing.
both 2023-25 and 2023-26 will be heard on September 11th. The last one for introduction is ordinance 2023-27, an ordinance amending section 2611 of the code entitled zoning maps. You have that new zoning map in front of you in color. Thank you, Carla, for doing that. Can I have a motion to introduce?
Engelhardt will second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Council Vice President Silly.
Yes.
Council President Wong.
Yes.
And that hearing will also be September 11th. On September 11th, there's also going to be an introduction of one that fell off our radar. In order to do fully 2023, amending the zoning map, amending the zoning map, for the Flemington Borough, we were supposed to reintroduce the revision of the overlay of housing for the TC zone. That fell off the Bet's radar. We are changing how housing can be done out there. We still have to take the overlay, allow only housing on there. So that will get introduced on September 11th. That will be sending that forward, or Kara, the attorney for the planning board. We have no work session. I'm up to public comment session number 2. If anybody from the public has anything to comment on. please raise your hand if you're online or step onto the mic if you're here. And your name and address.
Miss Iceland, hand is still up, so I guess we'll throw her back in public comment. See if she's not. I think you can unmute her.
No, I can't. The little. Yeah, that thing comes up.
I read from the public. Robin is up. All right, Robin, it's a
Me,
3
yes.
minutes. What'd you forget?
It's a comment, but it's also a question, because, I was very busy and I just read that entire packet, while I was sitting here, and, I look forward to the public hearing and conversation about some of those things. I'm so thrilled that things are moving forward and moving to the council. That's awesome. I definitely would love to think about whether some business participation might be helpful with public art committee, because a lot of times things go on businesses' buildings, as well as a lot of times the funding for public art comes from businesses.
So wait, okay, so first I just want the council to know that you did participate,
And I'm very glad.
and we are so glad that you participated. You gave fabulous feedback to the ordinance, so I want everybody to know that.
Yes.
We didn't do this in a vacuum. You're suggesting that that ordinance gets brought into private property?
No.
I think.
I'm sorry.
So we're talking- Okay, so it's only for public.
It's only on public art on public property.
Public art on public property. Okay. Even still, I mean, why not have a
For public
member of the
spaces, so-
business community participate? Because, you know, we have funding for public art in public spaces. What we found is that there's very few public spaces in the municipality for murals, because the borough owns very few
So
buildings.
there are 2 appointments for the mayor to make that are
Yes.
not specific.
Yes.
One from the general public, one from the general public who does not have to be from Flemington, but must have an art background.
Yes.
Okay,
Good.
so you and I can talk.
Okay, thank you. So the process is that all those ordinances get discussed on September 11th. Yes, okay, thank you. I think it's, I mean, I'm in support of all of it, and yes, I very much appreciated being a part of the conversations, but I always like to see businesses being included, and I just have some other questions, but I'll take that offline.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, the end of the public comment period, payment of bills. Can I have a motion to authorize the payment of bills in the amount of $653,275.99?
Tilly, move.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt, a second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Park,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosetti,
Yes.
Councilmember Engelhardt,
Yes.
Council Vice President Tilly,
Yes.
Council President Long.
Yes.
Thank you. We have no executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Tilly, move.
For a second?
Engelhardt, a
So
second.
that was good. 2 hours, we had a robust conversation with our. Right, Nick, second?
Sorry.
Everybody seconded. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Sure. Maybe
We
Saturday.
don't.